part 2 of installing a sway bar on a 1992 Sonoma GT. If you don't know what these trucks are, look them up. They're in the Cyclone and Typhoon family. In fact, they're even more rare. But what I've been doing in the last video is we pulled a sway bar off a Blazer for the rear of this truck. We already had the bed off because we were fixing some things on the gas tank that were leaking. So we put new lines on there in the last video. And now, while we have the bed off, we might as well put these brackets in that I've had for probably over a year, maybe even 2. So what sway bar are we putting on it? We're putting on a rear sway bar from a newer model Blazer with a ZQ8 package. But the trick here is it has to come off a 4-door Blazer. Now, I'll try to look it up and give the years of those because I don't exactly remember. But long story short, here is the sway bar, the brackets that bolt to the axle housing, and the end links. And the brackets, last video, I put them on the frame. And I'll show you guys how to do that. If you go back and watch the other video, I'll put it in the comments so you guys can find it pretty easily. But these brackets go inside these shock mounts. And it's not too big of a deal. It took me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to really get it all done well. But everything's in, and I didn't have to remove the shock mounts like I thought I was going to have to, so that's good. But before we throw this dude on, I've got some polyurethane mounts or bushings to go on it. And yeah, we're gonna have a good time with that. The key thing is this is a rear hung sway bar, which means it mounts off the back side of the rear end. So it's gonna mount off of that and then come up to the brackets right here and here. And why that is important is because there is a sway bar that mounts to the front on 2-door Blazers and I think some newer trucks or extended cab trucks, but we can't do that because we have a gas tank in the way. So that is not something that we're going to be able to do on this setup, and that's absolutely fine. We went and found the 4-door Blazer rearward mounted sway bar. Don't know why I couldn't think of it. All right, so I'm just been rambling. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna pick this thing up and see if I can't go find, I gotta pull the end links off because it looks like this kit, which is for the rear, comes with all the bushings to replace in the factory end links. So let me get that all set up, figure out how we're gonna remove the old stuff, and then we'll kind of go from there. Well, it's already going a little faster than I thought it would. I've got my sway bar over here in a vise. And this is one of the end links that we're gonna have to kind of strip down. What's kind of cool is it came right off the bushing. So let's see if we get that easy with this side. And I think we're going to. Yeah, look at that. I'm just gonna work this dude off of here instead of drilling it out. Yeah, it's almost coming off. There we go. There. Hey, that's one part done. That's pretty cool. And pull these mounts off. All right. Pull this off. And there we go. We're halfway done. Kind of, sort of. Not really. All right, now I gotta pull these bolts off. Let's get this guy tore down. A couple of 15mm bolts. Well, bolt in the nut. Beautiful. Now, I could clean it all up and paint it, but we don't have time to do that. So, hang out here for a minute, and let's see how we're gonna get the bushings out of these, which, man, it doesn't look like it's gonna be too difficult. All right, end links. We got to pull these guys off here too, and I'm gonna try to do it with just hammering a chisel. See if it moves any. Well, it's definitely getting the I don't know what you want to call that thing. This out of it. I don't think the rest of it moved any. We'll see. Yeah, it did. Wow, this has been pretty easy. I'm very nervous now because it's not supposed to be that easy. This stuff's supposed to fight you all the time, right? Let's see if it's the same for this guy. This guy's not as easy. Alright, this one is fighting me a little. So let's do the drill method. Where I take the drill. Yep. Well, that worked on some of it. There we go. That wasn't bad at all. Marked it up a little bit, but hey, nobody's perfect. Beautiful. All right. All right, so part number, I don't know. Looks like, yeah, 71175 from Prothane Motion Control Performance Products. This is nothing but poly graphite bushing, lube, and all the other bushings for the end links, which is nice. Plus the sleeves, and well, I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to kind of go together like this. We'll lube this up, tap it in. Wow! That's going together really easy. Huh. I'm very concerned. I didn't even have to put any lubrication in that. Let me look up and see if you're supposed to lube it all first before I put it all together. Alright, I'm going to try this again. I pulled everything back out. But see, you don't... Because these are not... greasable fittings, I'm going to throw some of the grease on there, and I'm going to feel better about things when I do that. There's one side. Beautiful. There's the other side. And here is the, I think, are these the same? Yep. There's a longer one and there's a shorter one, sleeve. We want the longer one for the skinnier or less diameter bushing. So big ones go up here, small ones go down here. We want the larger ones for down here. Does that make a lot of sense? I hope so. All right, sleeve in. Man, I can't believe this is that easy. Something's gonna go bad here soon. Okay, feed process. Uno. Dos. All right, let's get the shorter guy here. Yep. Wow, and that's done. That's fantastic. It needs to be There we go. A little bit more level. All right. I can repeat the process and then we can. Next hurdle. In order to mount the sway bar, that's down there, to the axle housing, you have these U-bolts. These U-bolts mount to the housing like this. Well, but as you can see, this is a brake line, and it's in the way. So I looked online, and it looks like everybody's moving this stuff out the way. So that's what we're gonna do. We could make another line, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Had I known that, I probably would have seen if I could grab the rear brake line off the donor truck. But yeah, so that has to come up quite a bit. So let's see how we can do that. All right, I'm gonna see if I can manipulate this without taking everything apart. So there's a clamp right here that holds the brake line in place on the housing, and we're not going to be using it anymore. Perfect. Then let's see if I can there we go, kind of put some opposing forces on that brake line right there. This one's steel braided. There we go. I wonder if that's going to work. Kind of looks like it's going to. Does it need a little more? Huh. That wasn't too bad. Did I kink it anywhere? No, did not kink it anywhere. Gonna have to be in this general area. There we go. All right, yeah, that's out of the way. All right, cool. Well, that's something. That wasn't too bad. All right, let's start manipulating. This one's not quite as agile as the other, I guess you could say. I think that's gonna do the job. Cool, somewhere in there like that. All right. Well, I guess the next thing is to go ahead and see if we can't get the sway bar in place. So my guess, I'm gonna have to pick this dude up. Got enough? There we go. Dang it. one on the floor. This would be easier with 2 people. Crap. Cool. Now let's hang the end links. When you hang these guys, the smaller diameter goes in this pocket. Again, smaller diameter in the pocket. There we go. $18mm on these bolts. Okay guys, we're doing something. We're cooking with something. I need to pause and just do some research to make sure it looks like it's supposed to. All right. Again, this would be easier with 2 people, but sometimes you got to sacrifice. But I got this thing mounted up pretty good. I think it's pretty centered overall. The end links, or how they mount to the sway bar, or the axle housing, sorry, are vertical. And from what I'm seeing, that does look to be appropriate. It brings it off the housing here, but they're vertically mounted on the housing. But I do need to zip the rest of it down. For the record, the truck is on the ground. When you're doing anything with suspension, make sure that you have the load on the suspension before you zip everything down. So let me take down all the end links, and then we're going to be done with this, and we can throw the bed back on hopefully this week. That might be a 2-person job as well. I do need to get a couple other parts, and then this thing will be ready to start cruising. So, all right, let's zip those other guys up. It is time to get this back on here, and we're gonna use the same method I did with the Dakota bed because I'm by myself. So we're gonna use the cherry picker, and we're all good to go. I know we just got the sway bar all in and done. I just wanted to show you guys the whole update here. This is actually what started this whole project, because it had a hole in it. So this is new hose here, new hose on the filler neck, new vent lines, new fuel lines. You saw that in the last video, and well, we're ready to go. So I think I've got to hook up one ground because I think this ground strap is no longer working. That bolt won't get tight, so I'm gonna have to put a nut on the other side. So we'll do that, and then we'll get the bed on. All right, the good news is the Sonoma is back in action, and I couldn't be happier because obviously this thing has fought me for probably 2 years. But it's running good, it's handling pretty well, it's not leaking gas. That's a big plus. And there's no funny smells. All the crap that was on the exhaust manifold is burnt off. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with it, which is great, and confident in it, which is also great because it means I get to drive it more. The bad thing is the registration and inspection is way out. So I can't really drive it very far right now. On top of that, there's really not a lot of places around my house where I could test out that sway bar. I can tell a little bit that it's stiffer, but there's no way that I can really dive into some corners to find out. So I didn't really take you guys along with me for that, but that'll come when we go to Austin, because there's all kinds of roads around Austin that should be fun to do that with, and test out the Firehawks. And yeah, we don't have much left to do other than really clean this thing up. We're gonna get our setter caps ready, and I'll show a video on doing that eventually. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that, but oh man, the Sonoma GT is finally back. Finally. And it's time to really enjoy the truck, and then come up with some plans for some power plants a little bit later, because it's very anemic compared to everything else that we're driving. So I'm gonna cut it off there, guys. I appreciate you guys coming along for the epic journey that the Sonoma GT has been, even though it probably shouldn't have been. And we've got a lot more in store. It's time to kind of get back on the Dakota and start getting that thing back together and running and stuff like that. So if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you along. We always got something going on, and I try to get a video out every week, usually on Saturday mornings. If you are a subscriber already, you know, guys, how much we appreciate you. And you know, tell your friends if you're liking the channel, if you're liking the Sonoma, the Dakota, the Nova, whatever else we got going on and working on. So anyways, you know the deal, guys. Until next time, y'all be good.